the life skills you've learned at university rather than the academic. If he went to work in a butcher's on a Saturday, then worked on a construction site, fortunate enough to build at KPMG a business that doubled over about 35 million to 275 million. I often use the phrase at work, which is a Steve Jobs phrase. We employ great people to tell us what to do, not us to tell them what to do. Try and bring solutions, not problems. So get them to think about the challenges, the problems. Go, hey, I've been thinking about this, so we can do this, we can do that, we can do something else.
Thanks for coming in, Paul. We spoke a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And I was really interested to get you on the pod and kind of, as someone that's also from the UK, how did you make your way from obviously being in the UK and then emigrating and ending up in the role that you've ended up in? It's a whole thing. So we thought it'd be cool. And especially as, you know, many of our people in our kind of ecosystem are lawyers and they're on their path of knowledge work, I guess, in their career. So it's always good to hear relatable stories about how do we get where we are. So thank you so much for coming on. Okay. And I guess just as a quick starter for 10 then, like what's your too long didn't read? What's a quick synopsis of who you are and where you're at? And yeah.
So Paul Cottingham, civil engineer, so not a lawyer, even though I work for a legal firm and worked for the Big Four, and not an accountant either. So I've been working in professional services for about 30 years.
Yeah.
Off the back of a sales and business development role.
Right.
So a couple of roles through PwC, KPMG, Meredith Connell. So a bit of a journey, but it's been a great journey of building my career and building a bit of wealth along the way as well.
Yeah, and you're the COO then?
COO, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's an interesting one. So how did your civil engineering training kind of get you to being a COO?
That's an even better question, because I was just reflecting the other day about how much of my degree I probably use now. And it's probably the life skills you learn at university rather than the academic role that you learn at university. So talking to people, making friends, building trust. I think that goes a long way to them being a people leader and then becoming somebody who can work for an organisation like Meredith Connell and be their COO. Whilst I was at PwC and KPMG, it was all about making connections, building trust with my people, the clients, the partners that work there. I'm fortunate enough to build at KPMG a business that doubled over the period of time that I was there, from about 135 million to 275 million.
Right.
Over 6 or 7 years, so good growth. But a lot of that is about just building trust with who you're working with.
It sounds like a lot of what you've done over your career has been around that relationship building.
Yep. How
has that importance of relationships fed into your definition of wealth?
I have got really good friends and family around me, and those relationships, I think, is a big part of wealth as well. I mean, people think of financial wealth, but it's actually the good feeling of wealth and looking after yourself. But I have a lot of time with my friends. I've took up golf in the last 2 years, so scrabbling around the golf course, but whilst with friends. So that that personal side of wealth and looking after yourself, I think, is very important so that you can have a good career as well.
Okay. And so where do you think your mindset on wealth came from? Like, was it an event that happened to you, or, the family unit that you were brought up with and their mindset that, trickled down to you, or where do you think it came from?
Yeah, good question. If I think about looking at my parents and their families, it was very much a working class family that we were brought up in Newcastle. Their parents were from Sunderland and Sheffield, so again, very working class, but a lot of what I saw growing up was my parents working hard. My mum worked for an accountancy firm, and she'd be at the dining room table working till late. So she certainly put a lot of time in with building her financial wealth, but also built an amazing family. So I actually head back to the UK in 3 weeks' time for Christmas. So
nice.
it'd be great to spend some time with mum and dad again, and enjoy their wealth of their children and their grandchildren that'll be around us at the time.
So what was, if you think a wee way back, what was the first action that you took towards building your wealth as you define it?
Going into the local news agents and asking if they had a paper round.
Yes.
So I started doing a paper round for a little bit. I then finished that because it was raining so hard one day. I just got so wet and the rain was dripping off my cap. I said, don't want to do this over again. And then at 15 went to work in a butcher's on a Saturday. And then some other jobs, then worked on a construction site. So I've always been able to swing to roll my sleeves up, get stuck in, earn a bit of money to build my wealth so that I could then go and do the things I enjoyed as well. So yes, I save a bit, but certainly I'd love to spend as well. So got a very good social life all the way through, from the legal drinking age of in the UK.
Yes.
Because obviously I didn't drink before then.
Of course not,
Never. And then would play a lot of sports. I played cricket, rugby, football, around lots of people. So enjoying that time with friends, again, building that wealth of satisfaction. And then even through university, I worked in a bar just to make sure that I could fund some of myself through university, but also working in a bar, good fun, meeting lots of people. So again, a different type of wealth creation there in terms of the fun aspect.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that relationship part's incredibly important for you.
Yes.
It has been all the way through.
Yeah.
So what are you doing today to build your wealth?
In terms of financial wealth, I've been fortunate enough to do, I'm mortgage free now.
Mm-hmm.
I had a property in the UK, which I then rented out. I recently sold it, and then I was able to bring that money over here in the last 6 months or so. So that's then cleared my mortgage here. I think it's then, I'm now starting to look a bit more in the future about what's the next steps in my career as well. So very fortunate enough to, as I say, pay the mortgage down. What that then means is, for my career, I'm just starting to think, okay, in the next 2 to 3 years' time, what's the future I want to create for myself? So I've got some grand plans of having 6 to 9 months here and 3 to 6 months in Europe. So working hard, building that wealth, probably looking into investments as well, building up the Kiwi saver, and still having some good time with a really good set of friends both here and in the UK as well. So, and then during that time, what I'm hoping to do is to set myself up so I can be a director, an independent director for some firms, say in 3 to 5 years' time.
Okay.
Work my way through the role at KPMG, it's Meredith Connell, and then jump into some non-exec roles.
So how do you go from where you're at today to getting into that director? Like what are the steps that you think you should take?
Yeah, so there's still a bit more self-development on that. I was just actually on the Institute Directors website this morning, just starting to plan out what I needed to do, and there's still a bit more financial acumen, build up some governance understanding. So I've got 2 of the big 4 on the CV with Meredith Connell in a COO role. It's just now making sure that I really understand the broad aspects of governance and what good financial governance of a firm looks like. So get those papers under my belts, and then part that I'll then enjoy is getting out and meeting some more people and convincing them to get me onto their boards.
Is that why you want to get into those roles? Is it that relationship side of things again, or is there something else underlying that shift?
I think a lot of the roles I've done, I have wanted to create and manage a team that's successful, but then help drive growth for clients or for the organisation. So I think it's fun, isn't it? Like taking organisations and helping them grow your people, helping coach and mentor people as well, just giving something back to the people that I work with.
Okay. And so what made you choose New Zealand? Like, there's a big wide world out there. You've got a lot of experience, and you came and you're like, I'm going to make New Zealand my home.
So I came here on a year out in between leaving my engineering role and joining PwC. I came here on a year out, went through Africa, went through Australia, came here, and then went back to London and started working at PwC and worked for the load of Kiwis. About 8 years of working in London, which was a lot of fun, and I created a lot of fun wealth and financial wealth there. I was in the back of a black cab in London on a Friday night, and I got a phone call from a friend over here saying, there's a job going, do you fancy coming over for it? That would have been about mid-December. Before Christmas, I'd got the role, and then 6 weeks later on the plane here for a 2-year secondment. Yeah. Thought, why not? There's what could go wrong? I knew people out here. I phoned up a few people that I knew as well through university here, and they said, yeah, get yourself over for 2 years. 14 years later, still here. So the country, the people, a few relationships here as well is what's kept me here. So loving being here, and now and that's why I'm starting to think about that future of the world of enjoying time in New Zealand with my friends here, and then going back to Europe for a few months each year as well in the future. So getting the mix right,
the balance. Yeah. So I read on your LinkedIn that you went and spent a bit of time in Tanzania, I think it was.
Indeed.
How did you end up doing that?
So I was probably at a point in my career where I was just been working very hard, and thought it was a bit of time to give something back. I'd left PwC. I was thinking about what the next thing could be, and decided to head out to Tanzania to teach English. When I got to the hostel that was doing the work across there, they said to me, oh, you should probably go to this hostel. I see you're a civil engineer, and there's a few things that you could probably help out there. And I got there thinking, I'll just be teaching English, but when I got there, one of their main buildings didn't have a roof on it, and that was where they wanted to do the cooking and the cleaning and then teach the kids as well. And they had most of the materials there. So, why haven't you put the roof on? And every time they had the money to put the roof on, it either went on vaccinations or some legal fees. Oh, yeah. And the next question was, well, how much do you need? And it was, well, it's £1,500, so let's say 3,000 New Zealand dollars at the time. Oh, okay, that doesn't seem much. So I landed on the Wednesday. I got there and went to the orphanage on the Thursday, asked the question on the Friday. On the Saturday, I did a just giving page, sent it out to my friends. Come Sunday night, I had 7,000 Kiwi dollars in my account. So 3 years with no roof. We then started a week after I landed there to put the roof on. We had enough money then to build a wood fire stove as well. I kitted out the kitchen, the proper kitchen. So And the rains had just started there, so we were able to build for about 6 weeks, and then we had to stop for a period of time. And during that time, I trekked up Kilimanjaro, went across to Tanzania. And then when we came back, all the time, we never saw the top of Kilimanjaro. And we had a celebration meal for the completion. Literally, the clouds just went away, and we saw the stunning Kilimanjaro. So, yeah, just an amazing experience. And I still sort of follow what they do across there. They've got a couple of Facebook and Instagram pages. So, just seeing the kids grow up. I mean, some of the gosh, I came back, and it makes you realise life here. And there was kids on the side of the road across there that were eating dirt to survive, and some children were born as alcoholics as the parents were. So the most humbling experience being across there. And then you come back and you see somebody complaining about their lattes too cold, too hot, and you know, gosh, puts life into perspective.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So, we talked a little bit about the kind of financial side of things, the relationship side of things. Has there ever been a time in your life where you've been maybe focusing on that finance side of things and, health is wealth as well, whether it's physical or mental, that potentially that may have been impacted, or maybe other facets of your definition of wealth have been impacted because you've been focusing so hard on another area?
Yeah. Well, I think my health definitely towards the end of my BBC career, I was working hard. It was a stressful environment, and I think your body keeps on shouldering on, and then you stop. And then I resigned from PwC with nothing to go to. So left my job, my relationship broke up, and I moved out of the house that we're in. So 3 quite major things. Guess what? My body went, stop, and it came down with glandular fever. So it is your health, wealth, and spiritual wealth as well. There's all that whole combination. So I had adrenal fatigue just because of the work. So yeah.
What's adrenal fatigue?
So your body is built to give adrenaline to run away from your saber-toothed tigers.
Right.
But we're only designed to have that about once every other couple of days. The world that we live in, due to technology and work, your body's producing far too much adrenaline, so which turns to cortisol, and then affects your whole body, mind, body, and soul. So you then go into, I think back in the 70s and 80s, it used to be called the yuppie flu in the UK, but what they found is everybody was working too hard and under too much stress.
Right.
Our lifestyles have evolved too quickly before our bodies can evolve to keep up.
Right.
Yeah. So I've been very interested in reading more about that and understanding why we are the way we are, and what you can do to mitigate, hopefully, those health impacts in future.
Totally.
So what are some of the things that you've implemented in your life?
So I do a bit more meditation, do a bit more yoga, not taking things too seriously. Yes, I know there's impacts at work and you can take things too seriously. I just decided that in the roles that you do, you can take a lot on. I've got a great team, so there's a lot there about sharing and caring. But a lot of these things, nobody gets killed, nobody gets maimed or injured. It's people, politics, and personas. Yeah. So if you can navigate the people, politics, and personas, life's all right.
Yep. So you already mentioned that you've got a great team that you work with, but from your leadership position then, what are some of the things that you've been able to implement in your company to enable your people that you lead and manage to, mitigate the stress, I suppose, that comes within working within a, corporate company?
Yeah, I think some of it is in the also the management style. I hear that it was quite a dominant management style before. I'm a bit more empowering and get them to ask why. So why have we always done things the way we have? Well, just because we have. Then you just get asking those why questions and encouraging them to bring new thoughts, bring new ideas. I often use the phrase at work, which is a Steve Jobs phrase. We employ great people to tell us what to do, not us to tell them what to do. So I, on the whole, try and live by that. And the other side is try and bring solutions, not problems. So get them to think about the challenges, the problems. Go, hey, I've been thinking about this, and we can do this, we can do that, we can do something else. And then it's a much more positively framed conversation than the negativity of just bringing problems. I know people work long hours, so if they have to go early on a Friday, fully boots, go and work, leave early on a Friday. I'm not expecting every hour to be noted into your annual leave. It's always that swings and roundabouts. And I think there's a piece there also about hierarchy. Yes, I am the COO and hierarchical to a certain point, but also I want to be a peer, a coach, a mentor as well. So that ability to flick between when we need leadership, yes, I'll lead, but it's also then about how you act together as a peers. I think some of that skill also comes with, I captain the cricket team, I captain the rugby team, and you captain different people from different walks of life, so you learn a lot there about how to work with people and get encouragement and get the best out of them as you can.
Okay. Do you think that there's been a change in culture essentially within New Zealand corporate environment since when you moved here to now, because we're seeing a lot more of that implemented?
I'd like to think so. I think the one area which probably could do with a bit more work is feedback. And I'm not saying going to the blunt level of feedback that some people would give in London, but there's definitely some learning there about giving and receiving feedback. And I believe feedback's a gift. If people are willing to give you that feedback in a good, constructive way, that can be really, really good. So one of the things we're just implementing at MC around our leadership development program is giving and receiving feedback. Because there is a style to give it, but also there needs to be awareness of yourself as well, of how to receive that and take it on board, and how to work with that as well. So when I first came here, I seemed to get feedback by a third person. So that person would tell that person, who would then tell me. I'm like,
how?
Why aren't they just? Whereas in London, it's just you get feedback. And direct in a managed and planned way. So you would have regular check-ins and feedback sessions and development. So you knew the feedback was coming. So we're definitely gaining ground there in terms of feedback. And I won't mention the Kiwi driving there.
It's definitely worse. I mean, the UK's got a high bar. And the UK, the drivers are on average very good.
Have you driven out west much at all? So there's the general. So I'm from West Auckland. The general kind of consensus is when the light goes green, you count to 3 before you go, because you know that people are going to run the red lights. Right?
Oh, really?
So
right.
Don't come out west if you want to.
Yeah.
Well, the roads are very skinny in the UK, so you have to, learn to drive pretty well, I think.
And flashing people out. So when I started flashing people out here, people are looking.
What are you doing? What do you mean? I can imagine.
Whereas over there it's flash after you. No, after you.
Oh, it's manners. I get it. It's manners.
Yeah. But maybe that's the thing, is like Kiwis have got great manners outside of the car. In the car,
Oh,
it's
heck yeah.
more like that. Whereas it might be the other way around.
Okay. Interesting observation.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that, with, people wanting to see kind of a change in corporate New Zealand, a lot of it comes down to what you see your manager do as well. So if you're the kind of person, what you've seen that you are, who's practicing what you preach, it gives good understanding of the people that are reporting to you that, okay, our boss is doing it, then that's cool, right?
Yeah, that's okay, isn't it? Yeah. And certainly that's something of definitely encouraging. And part of the leadership development we're doing at the moment is a bit of coaching as well. So you do a personality profile, you then learn from the coach. So that implementation of coaching, I've learned that elsewhere as well. So now my leadership team are having 3 sessions one-on-one coaching. It's stuff that they've never seen or done before.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff I was saying about you put the hours in, so leave early on a Friday. Yes, in the summer I've left a couple of early Friday because I'm just following a ball around a golf course like that. So, but it swings and roundabouts. There'll be other days when I'll be working late as well. So practice what you preach, and it is about the words and actions. So hopefully I'm true to my words by the actions that I do. Yeah. You can ask my team about that.
Yeah. Follow up from the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So, you mentioned that you're going to be going to England for Christmas, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
So, obviously, family and friends are of big importance to you.
Yeah.
So, in terms of kind of wealth generation, what do you see the impact is of, I suppose, your importance on that upon your building of wealth, and then what you may want to do with it in the future?
So in the future, it'll definitely be spending more time with friends, but also traveling. So I've traveled a lot. I've been to at least 50 countries. It could be nothing more, 60 now.
Okay.
There's a good app I've got on my phone where you can just keep ticking them off where you've been. So going back this Christmas, I wanted to make sure that I'm catching up with a couple of university friends, a couple of friends from home, and some couple of friends from PwC. So, and I see that as just scratching the surface of what it will be like in future years, that you'll be able to spend some more time with them. I was fortunate enough with KPMG post-COVID, you could do 6 weeks work from anywhere.
Okay.
So I did my 6 weeks working from the UK and had 5 weeks either side as holiday. And that was, again, just starting to paint that picture of what the world could be like for me in the future. So rather than spending 1 or 2 days at a friend's house, I was able to spend a week, which might have been a bit too long for them from their perspective, but it was good just to sit with friends, spend that quality time with friends. Whereas this time I'm going back for, let's say, 2.5 weeks, feet on the ground in the UK. So it's a day here, it's a day there. So it's not very restful, but it's a real good energy boost of seeing friends again. So if I think about that in the future, that 3 weeks is then a 3-month stint. You're just spending much more quality time with people, going to watch sports, having some fun and frolics, chatting about stuff at the pub. Yeah. Just reconnecting. I think that's a big thing for me, is that connection to the people I love and care about.
Do you think building your financial wealth has enabled you to be able to make those decisions to do those things?
Without doubt. I mean, the fact that I've been able to go back for the last 3 years to the UK, and this trip was more of a later last minute decision, just because parents are 83 and 84 this year. And you're thinking, gosh, could this be the last Christmas and that type of stuff? So even though they were over here in February, so they're still very sprightly. But it was those just moments of, I've been able to build my wealth. Why not spend it? Because you can't. The hearse doesn't have a tow bar on the back of it.
Yeah, so true.
You've got to spend it and enjoy it. We've worked hard for it.
Yeah. So for someone who's wanting to kind of go on the career path that you've taken, what would be some advice to someone starting out, or who's maybe like, in the first 5 years of their career and they want to see themselves as a chief operating officer of a company like NC? What would your advice be?
Trust yourself, trust your abilities, and just get out there and do it. So some of the first things I did after leaving PwC, I didn't know what I wanted to do next. So on LinkedIn, I found 3 people each week, got in touch with them, said, really interested about your career, can I come and have a coffee and chat with you?
Yeah.
And everybody said yes. It was
wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, everybody
cool.
said yes.
Yeah.
And so one conversation was with a firm called Courage and Partners, because I was thinking about, I wouldn't mind being an executive coach, etc. And had a coffee, had a bit of a chat. And he said, we don't have anything at the moment, but give me your CV. 10 years later, I get a phone call from Courage and Partners saying, we saw you used to be head of operations at PwC. Do you fancy coming in for a chat about the Meredith Connell role?
Wow.
So never underestimate the power of connections and putting yourself out there, because you don't know what can happen in the future. For me, 10 years later, it gave me my role at Meredith Connell.
Wow, what an amazing story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like the question that we went to last time. I think it would be funny. I'm really interested to hear how you answer it, but I get a sense we've had a little bit of a teaser in terms of what you've given us so far. But we interviewed a leadership coach, and he said one of the first things he asks is, what do you see the last 10 years of your life looking like? Or what do you envision the last 10 years of your life?
Travel, friends, laughter, learning new experiences. I think that the moment we stop learning is the day that stops. So I've always think that I still want to be learning things, whether it's from people, from reading from books. Yeah. So a very fulfilled life. I'm not going to be sitting in a sofa, sucking my gums and not doing things. I'm a very active and get out there person.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been interesting hearing your experiences.
Yeah, thanks so much, Paul. I really appreciate you coming on the pod. It's been a wicked conversation, so thank you.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will be starting to listen to this a lot more regularly than I have been already. This has been a great experience.
Oh, cool.
Thank you so much. Awesome.